I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat.
Janet.
We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman, because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. This is the Political Spotlight. This is the 200th episode. Can you believe it? Wow, 200. It's amazing, amazing. Welcome to the Political Spotlight. I am your host, Kristopher H. Bilbrey. As always, it is great to see you. I am here. Producer Kate is here, and we're going to be bringing on a guest in just a few moments. We want to thank you for tuning in and giving us a bit of your time. We understand that your time is valuable, and we are very appreciative to have you here watching, whether you're watching live with us or if you're watching in your own time, in your own way on replay, whichever way it works for us. Before we get into the show, and we have a lot of show to get to, we have like 2 shows packed into one. I guess that works because it's the 200th episode. Before we get to the show, I do want to take a moment and ask that you click the like button. If you're here, please just consider going down and clicking the like button. You have to be in YouTube to do that. And I will take this opportunity to tell you, we are very thankful that you might be watching from wherever you are watching from. However, I tend to believe that YouTube gives you the best watching experience because you have the full chat box. You'll be able to chat live with folks and see everyone else's comments even when they're not up on the screen. So you might consider switching to YouTube if you're not at YouTube. However, wherever you watch from, it's good enough for us. If you are on YouTube and you are not subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel. It is something that helps us out, and it doesn't cost you a dime. If you subscribe, you will then be allowed to hit the bell and click that bell to be notified when we go live or drop static videos, drop shorts. I just dropped a unknown and unplanned video this morning. It's a 22-minute long video. And I'm telling you, if you have not watched that video or you didn't make it to the end of last night's live, then you are going to want to go back and watch that 22-minute video, specifically if you live in Delaware County. That video is in our playlist called East Central Indiana Politics, and the name of that episode is... Give me 1 second. Delaware County, Indiana's 2024 primary election might not be over. What's the deal with Precinct 90? So check that out if you have not. We are a very interactive show, and we're interested in what you have to say. So if you are watching live, please comment over here in the live box. If you are watching on repeat, comment in the comment box below, and we will get back to you one way or another sooner or later. And most importantly, please help spread the message that we share here and help spread the word of the show. Share the show with everyone you know. That is the biggest way that you can help us out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the 200th episode, and we could do crazy things, and we could talk about how special we were and everything we'd done. I did that kind of last night. But there's no better way to celebrate the 200th episode than to just dig right in and start right along with the message. So I'm going to let you know what our topics are tonight in hopes that you will stick around because we have a lot of great topics to talk. Okay. First and foremost, this evening, we are going to be bringing on our friend, Dr. Katherine Callahan. We went over the results in Delaware County. We went over the results in Henry County. We are going to go over the results in Madison County and kind of look at what's happened with the winners, what's happened with the losers, what's happened with the precinct committee people. And more importantly, at this point, what's happening from today forward, because I know everybody's still hung up on these elections, but hey, the election was in the past and we are looking forward. So our eyes are always looking forward, and we have to think that way as well. So we're going to talk to her about that and find out what's going on over there and what she's got planned and what's going on. And I think that's a very important thing, not just for the people of Madison County, but for everywhere, to kind of hear how each person handles the different things that go on. After that, ladies and gentlemen, I will be giving you a brief recap of that short 22-minute video, the recap of Precinct 90 situation. There have been some situations that have occurred today that have made that situation a little different. I want to let you know what's happening, what we think's happening, what we think's going to be happening, and kind of give you a little bit of information there. And I have a personal story that connects to me personally about that situation at Precinct 90. After that, I'm going to recap the Delaware County Redevelopment Commission meeting from today. That's right, it's Thursday. That means the Delaware County Redevelopment Commission finally met. This is the meeting that was supposed to meet 2 weeks ago, but they canceled it. This is the meeting where they were discussing the red elephant mailer, and we did hear about that. They did allow a version of public comments, so we'll talk about that here in a moment too. But we'll just get into kind of what happened at the meeting, who was there, who wasn't there. We'll talk about the mailer. We're going to talk about the public comments, and we're going to talk about this 117-page document that I received from there, okay? And then we're going to talk about the city of Muncie. I have marked down here to go over the Board of Works and the mayor's update. I don't know if we will get in there because I also have to get through an update on the Greenlight resources and Dustin Clark's update. There's an update with that. There's an update from the Indiana State Board of Accounts. And so we have a lot to get to. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and bring on our friend, the doctor. Hello.
Hey, okay. Listen, when you give me like 3 minutes to exploit you all over social media, it's very hard to get that done. So people have been waiting all day about this. So I'm excited to talk to you about a lot of things. I know I got a lot to get through, and maybe what'll happen is we'll get through this tonight, kind of give people a taste. People can process a lot of things, and then maybe Friday or Saturday we can circle back around and talk a little bit more. So there's a couple things that I want to start with because I don't want them to get missed. And
listen, back up real quick. Don't stress. Talk as long as you want. If we're here 3 hours or whatever, I mean, I don't care. So don't stress yourself. We can just go at a pace you want. We'll get through everything, and what we don't, I'm always here. We're always here. God willing, I'll come back on and do what we don't do another day. So just don't stress yourself. I think I might have stressed you at the beginning, but don't stress yourself.
I don't get
So,
stressed. It's
all
called.
right. All right. Go on.
Okay. So there's a couple things here that I don't know if you can still see me. I think you can still see me.
I
I'm
can see
reading
you.
from something. Can you still see me?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So before we get started, there's some things that I just don't want Madison County to miss, and this is just the most important thing up front. I hope that that Sean Smith is watching tonight. Sean Smith, Laureen, they've put their heart and souls into the work of Madison County. They both have. There's a lot of people who've put their energy into this,
Yeah.
and people did not lose alone Tuesday night. There are people who were not running who also lost, and
Sure,
everybody
absolutely.
just needed a break. I mean, it happens, but as we're regrouping, as we're getting ourselves back on track, which we will certainly do. There's a lot to be done. We want to bring some exciting things up. Okay, so here's what I want to tell everybody first. The leadership in Madison County is about ready to change. We did take the majority of precinct committeemen. So this is a small win, but a huge win. So with that being said, I want to get this right out of the gate and then I'll expand on it. The Republican Party leadership includes Russ Willis, Kelly Hewer, Connie Gardner, and Rob Steele. These four people are who leads the Republican Party as far as president, or I don't know how you want to say it.
Your
President,
chair, your
president.
vice chair.
Yeah. Secretary, and then treasurer.
Treasurer.
Connie's husband is Rick Gardner.
Yeah.
Who was running. Okay.
Yep.
So I want everybody to keep that in mind. Rob Steele is part of the swamp and is completely vested in the swamp. Rob Steele cares about nothing except for when he will be able to help his party or get his next drink. I don't care. I'll say it out loud. Doesn't bother me any. But as far as doing the good for the people, Rob has zero interest in doing that.
Yeah.
And I've seen so much of the dirty side of Rob Steele. I don't even know how he looks at people with a straight face, but I guess if you have enough at the bottle, you can look at anybody. And I'm not spreading rumors. It's a fun fact. Now, this group actively sabotages candidates. Russ promised access to the GOP data center to several candidates. Then he just ghosted them. So Lisa Rinker wasn't allowed to have it. These big candidates who are running all throughout the county were denied access, even though he promised he would give them to them. The entire local Republican Party was made aware of the behavior and refused to stand up to Russ and went along with it, Kelly Hewer being one of the biggest cheerleaders.
Sure.
Okay. I want everybody to remember Kelly Hewer's name. I want it to go up in lights. Kelly Hewer and Pete Hewer have long been friends and best friends with Russ Willis. They have actively participated in Russ's shenanigans. They have supported his shenanigans. Pete is on the board of the Madison County Lincoln Club, who sent out the flyer. The flyer went out. We'll get to that flyer. Based on the number and who won the precinct committeeman, it looks like Russ might be on his way out. So what does Kelly Hewer do? She is the perfect backstabbing, manipulating politician that there is. What does she do? She's starting to call all the precinct committeemen.
Disgusting.
Okay. And what is she doing? She is calling everyone who won the precinct committeeman races. And it looks like, when Russ is on his way out, she's going to jump ship. She's telling everyone she doesn't support what Russ is doing. She was not involved in any way of it. She had no idea this stuff was going on. She has been lock, step, and barrel with that man and refuses to publicly condemn him. And her behavior not to intervene. And now she's attempting to shoehorn her way in as the contender for the Republican chair. That is what's going on in Madison County. Now, let me be very clear to all of you. Do not replace one snake for a female snake. Let me be very clear with all of you on how intertwined Kelly Hewer and Pete Hewer are with the Russ Willis and Dina Willis. They go on cruises together. If you look in some of these meetings and there's nobody there, it is Kelly Hewer sitting there being Russ's biggest champion when we're having election challenges, when he's having election meetings. Do not ever listen to Kelly Hewer. So I am warning every precinct committeeman who is watching this show tonight. You are exchanging one snake for another. Let me not be mincing words here. That woman will sell your soul, walk on your body to get anywhere she can. She'll look at you and say, how bless your heart. Oh, I'm this Christian. Well, I got news for you, people. They ain't got nothing except for what they have to gain on this. You know, I was at the polling center in LaPel at 6 o'clock in the morning. Rob Steele was supposed to be there to set that up the night before, but for whatever reason, he couldn't. And so Linda Smith came out and set it up. Well, to get started in there, it was nothing but a cluster disaster. Your own clerk doesn't even know how to set up polling sites. So that got backed up in the morning, and I didn't know what was going on there until somebody said to me, well, Linda was out there the night before setting it up because Rob couldn't do it. Well, I don't know. Maybe Rob was out having too many cocktails. I don't care. My gloves are completely off. I told these people, and you told them the other night, I'd probably let Callahan win, because if she doesn't, it's going to be a lot more dangerous.
Well, let me say something about what you're saying there, because listen, I'm going to tell you right now. Did you just get attacked?
No.
Oh, did something fall down?
No.
So let me tell you this. There's a story in Delaware County that for the longest time, there was a kingmaker in Delaware County Democrat politics called Phil Nichols. And Phil Nichols did his thing, and he grew his team and his foot soldiers and his people that would take care of him. He built them up strong because he was totally, honestly involved as the head of the party for not as long as he was a figure in Democrat headquarters. Because what happened is he was actually removed as the chairman. He stepped down or whatever, and someone else went in. But Phil Nichols was still the secret puppet master behind the scenes, pulling the strings. So then they switched that party chairman with a new one. Woo, we've got new party chair. Phil Nichols was still there pulling the strings.
Yeah.
So then we get a new party chair. Now we're like 3 party chairs out from Phil Nichols. And Phil Nichols is still there pulling the strings. Let me tell you something. Phil Nichols died last year. And I am not 100% sure that he's not somewhere still pulling the strings for some of the people in the Democrat Party.
Well, he's taught the culture, right?
That's exactly right. It's a culture.
Absolutely. And until you cut out the entire culture, until you cut out the entire cancer, you can't get rid of it. And let me tell you something. Kelly Huber, Rob Steele, Connie Gardner, they're all your cancers.
That's the cancer.
You got to get rid of all of them.
I was so happy to hear that you guys took control of a lot of the precinct seats, but it's important that you guys don't get fooled again and again and again and again by someone, a wolf in sheep's clothing, or someone willing to do that. Because, first of all, everybody will turn on everybody, and they love Russ until Russ is the odd man out. Then they'll throw him. One or two things will happen. They will take over, and he'll still be the man behind the strings. All right. And he'll be controlling the shots, and that'll work until the point that they absolutely really have to get rid of him. And then at that point, they'll get rid of him and away he'll go, and it'll be like he never existed. But those people will still be as bad as anything. And so it's that culture, and you've got to get rid of that, and you've got to put something new in, and the Democrats went through that and went through that and went through that. I mean, it was like 30 years that this guy's ghost lingered and lingered and lingered. And I mean, now we're kind of seeing that with the Republican Party. We've had a couple of all right people, and then they kind of were turds, and then we had one turd, and then another turd, and they're all basically the same after one, after one, after one. So you guys really have to consider what you're doing big. And I know that you wanted to talk about this, and this is big, and Delaware County needs to know this as well. This is very, very important. And I'm going to put this up on the screen. This is important for you guys. And this is important for us. It's important for anybody. Okay, I'm going to put this up. And the Democrats, I'm sure, have something very similar to this, but I'm only speaking to the Republican Party on this message at this moment. For all of you that are a new precinct committee person, hold on. I think I lost you there for a second. For all of you that are a new precinct committee person, I need you guys to understand that you only have 30 days from Tuesday to put in place. Damn it. You only have 30 days to put in place from Tuesday your vice chair, and you have to go through a process. So I'm going to put this up on the screen here and let you guys see this. This is, and I'm going to tell you where you can get this. This is you go to the Indiana GOP, the state party page, and you can get this form. This is the Indiana Republican State Committee Precinct and Vice Precinct Committeeman Appointment, Form PR2. And it's was updated in January 2023. And it says, and then you put your name in, name of county chair, or you put in the county chair or elected precinct committee person. So if Katherine was elected precinct committee person, she'll put in Katherine Callahan, do hereby appoint, and it has to be an opposite sex member of your party. So if Katherine, being a female, is she's the PC and I'm in her county and she wants to nominate me, she could nominate me. I nominate or appoint Kristopher Bilbrey, who resides at, you put in the full address, and is qualified voter in said county to serve as vice precinct committee in, and then you have to put the number of the precinct in the county, Madison County or Delaware County or Henry County or wherever, effective, and you put the date on there. And you put the appointee email, the appointee phone number, and then you have to sign that as the precinct committee person. But then wait, you have to go and you have to get the signature of the county chairman too. All right. The vice precinct committeeman being replaced is, so if you're replacing someone, you have to put them there and you have to get this county chair signature. Now, I don't believe that the county chair can refuse to sign it. Now, that's a weird statement because, I mean, you can't force him to sign it. I mean, you can't like hold him hostage.
Now, let's.
We've got notes on here that you do not have to be opposite gender. It's just the chair and the vice chair that are opposite gender, not the precinct committeeman.
And I'm just going to say,
man,
that's coming from two different people, not just one.
And I will tell you, David Sargent has read that manual probably 52 times.
Okay.
But somebody will double. If Sean Smith is watching, he might write in. He might be able to clarify too. But Dave's they've been reading that book over and over. Now, while you're talking about this, I want to be very clear with all the PCs that are watching in Madison County. I understand that Russ Willis has reached out. I understand that he is telling you that he gets to choose the vice PC.
He does
That
not.
is wrong. He has no say in that vice PC. Now, he is going to make sure that they're Republican in good standing, which means they've had to have voted in 2 consecutive.
There's Sean.
Sean's saying they do not have to be the opposite sex.
Okay.
So he does not get to choose your vice PC. That is your job. You get to do that. They do have to live in your precinct. Okay, so if you have an old manual, The old manual is incorrect. They do have to live in your precinct in order to be in that slot. They do have to be a Republican in good standing. Do not wait till the last minute.
No.
With Russ, because he's going to jack you around, push you to that 30 days, and then he'll be able to nominate somebody because he hasn't signed off on that. And I'm going to tell you something. If he jacks around with you and he will not meet up with you and get that signed, you send it via email, you send him messages, and you record those messages. And we will figure out how to take that to task. We're trying to figure that out right now. And I don't know if Sean's got a system down in his head right now on what he's going to do if Russ refuses or tries to avoid signing these.
And I gotta be honest with this, because I'm telling you, I've heard some crazy shit in the last couple of days. I've heard people who like they're just like, well, they're so nonchalant about things. Like, someone's like, well, I didn't get my brother didn't go vote for me. And I'm like, what? You didn't get your brother to go vote for you? You know, I don't understand that. So, like, the thing that we got to understand is, like, this is a war, folks. This is a war if you're not ready. I got done telling the city council people this at Monday's Muncie City Council meeting. Listen. If you're not prepared to do what needs to be done, just don't even start down this path. Say, hey, I thought I could do it. I don't have what it takes. I need to maybe tag somebody else in, because there are other people that will do it. But you cannot half-ass this. You can't say, well, all right, I'll get around to it. Listen, there are Indiana codes that dictate this stuff, all right? An elected precinct committee person has 30 days after his or her election to file a written appointment form with the name of their vice committeeman with the county chair. If the elected precinct committeeman fails to file the written appointment form within the allotted time, it becomes the responsibility of the county chairman to make that appointment. If the vice committeeman of an elected committeeman resigns, the elected precinct committeeman has 30 days from the date of the vacancy to appoint a new precinct committee person in written form and give it to the county chairman. Otherwise, the county chair fills the vacancy. See Rule 3.9 through 3.14 of the Indiana Republican State Committee Rules, all right, adopted September 22nd, 2021. Copies of these forms are to be on file with the secretary of the county committee. This is not state law. These are private parties, and they can create their own private rules. And you have, when you're playing by these party rules, you have to look at that like it's law, because there's nowhere else to go outside of this. And Russ will play every game in the book that he can with you. So you have to be willing to fight harder than that. And if you're not willing to, go ahead and sit down now.
Well, and this is a whole thing. You know, people need to understand, if you want to really test Kelly Hewer, let me explain something to you. Try not to get a hold of, if you can't get a hold of Russ, call her.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
You know, I mean, call her, see how much she's willing to help you. Now, here's the thing. She's going to trip over herself to try to make it right because she doesn't have any choice. But because she wants your vote in the future. But I'm telling you what, I don't even think you got to turn your back for her. She'll just look at you right in your face and stab you. So she can play all sweet and innocent, but we're not going there because she's not. Because this brings me into the next thing I want to talk about after the vice PCs. Let's talk about who's on the Lincoln Club.
Okay.
That is so sealed up. The Lincoln Club hierarchy is so sealed up. Nobody can figure out who's on that committee. But let me tell you one person who is on it.
Okay.
Pete Hewer. That one we know for a fact. Pete Hewer married to Kelly Hewer. Now, I want to tell you something. In 2020, I listened to Pete Hewer more times than I've ever listened to her. And somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. Pete Hewer has never been elected to a seat. Okay? He's always been caucused.
He's always been caucused in. I think that's
And every
correct.
time he goes to run for that seat, he always loses. Okay. But his best friend, Russ, he caucuses him right in. And I guess he's like 18 months shy from getting like a retirement. So they're trying to find a position to caucus him into so he can get that 18 months. Well, let me tell you something, people. You need to send him packing. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if you ever listen to Pete Hewer speak, all he ever talks about is how many jobs he got fired from or he quit. He's not real good about holding jobs. So what's that tell you too? I don't really care if the next person tells me I'm smearing or mudslinging. No, I am telling you the truth. And here's the thing. I no longer have to worry about anybody saying anything to me because I put myself out there for the people, and I did exactly that. So I feel I'm able to talk about anything I want. I held off. I didn't say a lot of things that I have knowledge of, but I'm going to say it now. So here, Sean has talked about correct the rules state you can email it to the chair. The PC is just responsible to their portion. There's no mechanism to compel to the chair to sign. Complete your portion and mail and send it certified. So make sure you knew. And hey, everybody, if you want to know what you have to send it to, clearly the PO box, the PO box 726, where the flyer came from about Devin, myself, and Mikhail, is Russ Willis's PO box 726.
Absolutely.
So I just want everybody to understand that. Maybe Sean will put up the actual address if people are looking for that. He'll also put up Russ's email address. So we'll get there. I want to just let everybody know. Now, Kate, do you have that that thing I sent you with all of the donors? It's actually in your email right here. So all these people have sponsored the Lincoln Club. So that flyer that came out with Katherine, and it was all lies about Katherine. There's nothing in that flyer that is truthful. Nothing. Okay, so Sean's saying it has to go to PO Box 756. You got a zip on that, Sean? So that one has to go to PO Box 756. 726 must be the Lincoln Club. That's who put it out. Look at these people who support Russ's behavior. Hey, Max England, if you're watching, I told you Russ Willis was the kiss to death. He's why you probably lost the 5th District of Congress, right? But you supported him sending out lies, because I don't see any of these people calling Russ saying, hey, Russ, what the hell are you doing? Now, the only person that I've seen on this list, I mean, I'd have to look at it a little closer, that's really called him is Ken Kaczynski. Now, Ken's been in the Republican Party. He's been in the politics for a long time. But I'm pretty sure Ken's going to he kind of had a stroke over the fact that went out too. But again, every single one of these people who have given to the Republican Lincoln Club supported this bullshit that he put out about people, and it's wrong. And so there clearly is a case that's going to be run against every one of these people are going to get listed on the lawsuit, every single one of them, because there is no what you guys did to Mikhail Vaughn. Even though I don't care for Mikhail Vaughn, he was expunged of that. And for all these people who want to sit up here and say we had nothing to do with that, we didn't know. Well, right here, you all donated.
Yeah, if you donated money,
yes.
It's a political action committee.
Yeah.
It's called a club or whatever. Listen, they are a political action committee. If you donated to a political action, it's not like you're donating to like feeding Sally Struthers or her kids or whatever else going on. You are donating to a political action committee. If you're writing a check, and if you've got a checking account and you've got dollars and cents, you should be intelligent enough to know what people from a political action committee is going to do. They're going to put that out. They're going to support people. They're going to run positive ads. They're going to run negative ads, and you're responsible for helping that. That's like when people say, hey, send us money so we can do our work. That's what a political action is doing. You're sending them money, and if you're giving them money as a candidate, as a citizen, you take part in helping them publish whatever they put out, good and or bad.
That's one of my favorite parts of all of this. The Lincoln dinner in Madison County the money has gone to the PAC.
Yeah.
And Russ uses it however he wants.
Yeah.
With a new chair in place, what's not getting funded anymore?
Right.
The Lincoln
And
Club.
here's the thing,
Yeah.
It can
you
go
know,
to the GOP and it can be spent the way that it should be spent.
Yeah.
And I
Equally
keep-
among all the candidates, or waiting until after the primary and then supporting
Yeah.
candidates.
and I keep
Yeah.
hitting on Kim Kaczynski, right? Now, if Ken's watching, you kind of got screwed. They kind of bent you over, Ken, right? I mean, they took your money, then they dispersed 2,200 to their elite group,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now, here Ken is supporting them, and then what do? They shit all over them. I mean, I'm just saying that, here's the thing, be careful who you keep company with, because that's the problem with this, and I'll tell you, Ken's always been good to me. He's been fair to me, but he's going to get hit in the same shit as everybody else. And yeah, I am swearing tonight because I'm a little bit pissed off. Right? I don't usually do that on the political spotlight, but Russ has gone too far.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just gone too far. You want to talk about OSHA violations? I'm the whistleblower, ding dong. I'm the one who called OSHA. I told you we had OSHA violations. And then what did Richwine do? We don't have any OSHA violations. Well, clearly you did. And so, that's the whole thing. Richwine bought the beer cooler. He's the one, the OSHA violations. But what do you have to do? You have to do it toward the coroner's office. Why? Because, that's the office it is. But here's a news flash, everybody. I didn't buy the beer cooler. Troy Abbott, the coroner, didn't buy the beer cooler. Your dumbass Richwine did. Okay, so he's the one that committed the OSHA violations, and then you people vote him back into office. What are you thinking?
Yeah.
This guy has no respect. When Officer Chanovez, rest his soul, died, Richwine never showed his face. The Likens never showed their face. These people don't care anything about what these people do to serve. Hey, I like that beer koozie. Cheers, Sean. Right to you, buddy.
Right there you go. Look at that. I love it. I love it. I got this. I got this today.
I'm glad somebody finally got that to you.
I am so happy that I got this. I'm going to use this forever.
And that's the whole thing. Let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you a funny story. Kurt Shepard likes to drink. Rob Steele likes to drink. These guys like to sit around. They get little loose lips when they drink, right?
Sure.
We couldn't figure out where all this money that the Culps were getting. They're dumping $6,000 in. These people just finished bankruptcy 45 days ago. Kurt Shepard can't pay his child support. He's dumping all this money in. Well, loose lips with all that liquid courage, it all came from the Likens. And boys, when you sit around and you talk out loud, people around you, there's some that like me. And you know what? I just want to say you're welcome. Because when you say that bitch Katherine cost the Likens a lot of money, well, you know what? I'm not done. It's going to be a lot more when I'm finished.
I think we need to find out where they're hiding Steve Sumner.
Oh, I got to tell you a funny story. Okay, I got you guys. Now listen, Jamie Lynn is Steve Sumner's ex-wife.
Mm-hmm.
So Jamie reached out to me, and I just love her. I don't know if she's watching tonight. And Jamie said, "Hey, I want to work a poll with you." I said, "Absolutely." I said, "Do I get to pick which poll you go to?" She goes, "I'll go anywhere you need me." I said, "Okay." So I put her right in the middle of Likens Farms.
Jesus.
She was able to run into George Likens and tell him what a piece of crap he was. And she asked, "Well, you're out voting. Can you tell me where Steve's at?" So she sat up there for 12 hours with her daughter, and she confronted every Likens that came there to vote, because that's the place they vote. Herb and Darlene's Likens house is directly across the street. So she asked every one of them, "Are you going to help me out? Here's my daughter. My daughter's sitting right here. Doesn't she have the right to feel safe in her own home?" So people said to me, "I don't think she got you many votes out there." I said, to me, what she did is she kept more votes from coming in. Now the Likens didn't have this access to new voters or people who didn't know who to vote for. Right? They didn't have time to sit there and schmooze them over because you had Jamie Lynn right there blocking them. Because every time they wanted to tell what good people the swamp was, Jamie Lynn was right there going, well, they're hiding a child molester. They're hiding a pedophiler. Why would you listen to these people talk to you? And so, hey, Likens, if you can dump in $40,000 to $60,000 into these campaigns this time, don't you think you should do something to offer a reward to find Steve Sumner's, the one that you guys paid for his house in cash so he could be on the run?
Yeah, put up $100,000 for a reward.
Right? I mean, it's the least they can do. I mean, after all, you got a $150,000 bonus from us a year and a half ago when you made us pay your dumbass son's lawsuit. I'm just saying, why not give it back to somebody?
Yeah.
And so, yes, you don't have to like me tonight. I don't care, because after what you guys have done and what you have put out there with the lies, I'm over it. Dan Paddock, for you people in Lapel, Dan Paddock showed up at the precinct and voted in Lapel at like 6:45 or 7 in the morning. Dan gets out of his truck and some of the guys go, hey, Dan, did you bring the donuts? Dan says, you wouldn't want the donuts I brought. And I'm thinking to myself, what a crappy thing to say to people. So I said a few choice words to him. Then he comes back out and he proceeds to look at me again and say, you are nothing but lies. All you do, you're a liar. All you do is tell lies. You can never tell the truth. Well, guess what? I think I told the truth, Mr. Paddock. And here's the deal. If I'm such a liar, why don't you go talk to your son, Cam Paddock, who voted in my favor 5-0 to make sure that junkyard didn't come through? What's that make your son if he's voting on lies?
Yeah,
so please don't tell me that I'm a liar, because you look like an idiot when you say that, because it makes Cam look like an awful person.
Yeah.
And you know what? To be honest with you, Cam's probably the best of the bunch.
Yeah.
It really is. I've never sat and talked to Cam. Cam's made his decisions based on me. I don't think Cam's a bad guy. I think Cam is surrounded by two bullies, his younger brother, Landon, and his dad.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. Now, and here's the thing, I will tell Lapel, and I'm going to make this announcement here tonight. Doc Wright lost by 7 votes to Dan Paddock. Those 7 votes come from Dan Paddock, his wife, Landon Paddock, his wife, Brian Robertson, who is an elected town councilman and also the brother-in-law to Landon. Then, let's see, Brian Robertson's wife, and then Cam Paddock. That is your 7 people that Doc lost to. With that being understood, Lapel, Doc Wright will be moving to part-time in the office.
Wow.
And he will be ratcheting down his hours pretty significantly. That man has dedicated almost 50 years of his life to that town. And I want all of you to know, I hope the Paddocks will shell out $40,000 when this town's in trouble. I hope that the Paddocks will do what they need to do to save the people of Lapel. Because they're not vested one bit in you people. They're vested in building their own homes, making amusement parks, and doing whatever they can to stomp on the little people. They're so much better for you. And I apologize for the other people that voted for Doc. But here's the thing. If you don't get to those polls, this is the consequences to elections.
Yeah.
And I'm just telling you right now.
Yeah.
So Doc was looking for that moment, and he said, this is kind of where I'm at with this. I was wanting to wind down somewhat. Well, now he's winding down because of the fact that, we're going to let corrupt people who just cost our practice $40,000 to protect your water continue to stay in power and then show up at the polls and talk about people. And then my understanding is I wasn't at the polls at 5:30. I had moved polls. He came back and taunted my office staff. at 5:30
That's
at the polls.
insane.
Brought
That's
his grandchildren up there. And you want to talk about culture? This is culture. When you have bad people who teach younger children how to behave. Hey, why don't you tell your kids that the whole reason why this became such a mess is because you guys lied to the people and started voting on each other's stuff? Why don't you tell them about that nepotism? But instead they don't. And so this is the sad part about what happens when you allow bad people to stay in position. And the next person who wants to tell me that the Paddocks are good people, yeah, you can suck it, because there ain't nothing about those people that are good. They are only out for themselves. And in time, all of you will see this. The great news about lapel is we had 3 seats. We took 2 of them. So guess what, Dan? Your vote doesn't really matter.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So enjoy the ride, Dan, but you'll be the Lone Ranger. And I hope you enjoy the uncomfortableness. I hope you enjoy how it feels on how you have made the people feel in lapel, and how you have stepped on people, and how your arrogance and how you believe you're better than everybody. The fact that Dan Paddock sent out a letter to somebody who challenged him and then said, you know, what a waste of your time and gas, and then made fun of him. You people should be ashamed of yourselves.
Absolutely.
And you know, this person is disabled, has 1 leg. And that's how Dan behaves. You guys have nothing but a bully in the Paddocks. And what's so unfortunate is I'm sure their family was a good set of family, because up north in Alexandria, you know, they were quality people. But now Dan's down here in the South End making your family look awful. He's just dragging through the mud. And you know who's jumping right on top of it? Landon Paddock.
Yeah.
And all you people need to go. So, you know, these are the kind of things that I wanted to make sure I got out here. But before I tell you how we're going to move forward, I want to read a couple things to people. And I was very moved. I know people have read the article in the Herald Bulletin. And I will tell you, Caleb Amick came up to me and interviewed me at the Pub House. And he was so, I don't want to say cute or funny. He was just very transparent, I guess I should say.
Okay.
And he says to me before he even begins to interview me, and I've never met the man before, he said, Katherine, I promise you one thing. I will quote you correctly. And I said, thank you. You must be reading all of our information. So Sean Smith, if you're watching, let me tell you something. If you don't think that that message is loud and clear, that people aren't getting it, people are getting it. To see a reporter from the Herald Bulletin show up and say, I promise to get your quote correct, and he did, we're getting there. It's a slow process. So anyway, so I told him, you know, like my daughter said, if you don't win, then you've got to, you know, put all this down. And then they saw the flyer. They saw the lies. And they're not so sure I should put the gauntlet down. Now they've got a problem. Because you can say a lot of things about their mom, just don't ever say she's a liar. So, you know, we're going to have some lengthy discussions this weekend about what to do and how to move forward. But I do want to read a couple things on social media that has humbled me quite a bit. And some of you are listening. These will be your words that I am going to speak. So as I woke up yesterday morning, and, you know, anytime you lose, it's tough. This is what one person has to say. I'm so angry at our society after working the polls yesterday and noticing that 99.9% of the voters are uninformed voters. I've been there. I've done my duty, is what I heard yesterday. But if you're not informed, it's dangerous. Something has to change or USA is done. We've been taken over by a bunch of rabid humans hungry for power. Beyond that, if we don't get access to the voter rolls and the cast the vote records, we will never know who truly won. The movie 2000 Mules opened your eyes to election integrity. You, Katherine, are a most incredible woman, fearless. You've set an example of what it means to stand for what's right. You're not mediocre. You set a high bar. You've brought awareness to us, taught us, and shown us. For that, you are a winner. I've been changed by your example. I am grateful we met, and I'm grieving over the fact that you won't be in a position to make change in Madison County government. You're young. We will see if you don't put your hat in the ring again at some point. Till then, my deepest heartfelt thank you. Another voter person wrote in, and the truth will never be wrong, even as hard as it is to swallow. Politics is a blood sport. It's not for the weak. And this is what they say. I will say my first campaign has been a humbling experience, to say the least. Of course, we wanted to win, but we decided day one, no matter what happened, we were going to have fun. I sure had a lot of fun. I also had a lot of sadness. I've never in my life seen so many mean Christians as I did during this campaign of 2024. They were literally saying they don't know what is going on, but they spewed more hate than non-believers. I have seen some of the meanest things imaginable. Truth became mud, and in the end, the Russ Willis ran the biggest smear campaign a party chair election board could run. I personally feel I just witnessed the downfall of our county. Sad. The public is already limited in our speech. We can't ask questions. We can't express concerns. The elected officials act out in government chambers, but Christians are like, it's okay because they are such nice people. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, it's the people not doing their jobs right in the first place that has caused a lot of the issues locally. People saying that I personally lost something are very wrong. I didn't lose anything. I gained friends. I met a lot of great people that had never heard the stories. I got to see things happen firsthand, and I lived all about it. I got to help make local history, and I'm going to be there when things backfire with a better understanding than I had before. A couple of my people won their races, and I got to watch. So what if my candidate didn't win? The voter turnout, May 7th of 2024, says more about everybody else's character than it does ours. Some voters knew about the lawsuits and all the stuff that has been done, and still, for the bad team who takes away everyone's rights and freedoms and let people suffer by sleeping outside during the winter in Madison County, Indiana. I didn't do that. We tried. The positive note is that we gave the other team a run for their money and came pretty close to winning. To me, the voters who did vote were split down the middle. So that should signal to the rest of the folks that we came pretty close to winning and got way more votes than we thought was possible. In the last 24 hours before the election, the other team literally released a mailer with nothing but false statements on it that have proven to be false. Lastly, it's kind of hard to combat with rich white people who want to keep their kingdom intact. At least our team didn't have to lie in an attempt to run our race. I'm proud of the candidates I networked with. Over 6,141 voters, which equals 47.83%, sided with us. Thank you. Now we have to fight for a Madison County morgue and find a solution for the homelessness problem in Madison County. That was another voter. Another voter said this, and this will be one of my last ones. I worked the Indiana polls yesterday, the primaries. It's been a ride for the last couple of years leading up to this, watching uninformed voters do their civic duty, all well-intentioned, but grossly uninformed. Our country is on the brink of disaster because at the local level, we've allowed corruption to take over. Yesterday, I heard statements like, I just vote for the person who has the most yard signs. That's a very dangerous voter. Our election board officials have let the American people down. We need educated voters. I don't have answers right now. I just see the overwhelming evidence of a broken system. A system that was designed to make us the greatest nation to ever exist. Katherine Callahan for auditor of Madison County, Indiana 2024 ran a campaign for change, and she didn't win her seat, unfortunately. However, she proved hands down that we, the American people, have been taken down the road politically. She won as far as I'm concerned because now there's a lot of people who have to deal with their newfound knowledge. Stay with the status quo or fight for change. How's it going for all those Biden voters? You like the crime rates, the border issue, The loss of income, right now it's at 11,000. We are losing due to inflation. We never seen such chaos from DC. So with that said, I'm grieving over the losses nationally, but also locally. You've got to clean up your own backyard before you move on to someone else's. Madison County is prepared to stay stagnant while the establishment keeps maintaining the status quo. To those newcomers who won, I'm looking forward to the changes you desire to accomplish. God bless you. May we continue to do our part to live truth, walk with integrity, fight the good fight, and keep the faith. On to the next election. Vote for integrity, accountability, and transparency. Now, that in itself was a huge win.
Absolutely.
And what everybody had to say to me was incredible. And I just couldn't believe. But the number one win that I want to say to all of you was the greatest message I got. I had a mom reach out to me. And she said, I'm so proud of my son. He doesn't vote, but he did this time because of you. He walked into the polling center and they said, which ticket would you like, Republican or Democrat? He said, hell, I don't know. And they said, well, you have to choose one. He said, well, this is all I know. I want the ticket that Catherine's on. And they said, well, then you want a Republican. He said, then that's the correct ticket. And there I have won.
Yeah.
I have won. I have educated a voter who for the rest of his life now knows to say what candidate he wants, to pull the ballot he wants to vote for. That to me is, that was the greatest compliment that I could have received.
Yes.
We had so many people pulling the wrong ballots. And you know what? And they came out and they were angry and they were upset. I had one at the polls with me crying. And I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. Because now you've learned.
Yeah.
This process should not be this confusing.
Yeah, that's the first thing. It should not be this confusing.
Right.
And there were a lot of people that went to vote and pulled a wrong ballot because they didn't know, or they thought, well, this is what I've done or whatever. And that's, the biggest thing is if you're not educated before you go, don't walk in there. Right. Don't walk in and vote.
Right. And then I've got people in lapel chatter, some guy named Justin Mays, who's just a complete moron, who's saying, no, they don't have to declare Republican or Democrat. Well, you do in the primary because you got no other choice to pull a ballot. And he's like, no, they can do independent. No, you can't. And now you see. So, this is the kind of stuff that, I'm just kind of over it. I'm over the people who get on there. And for you, Amy Egley, if you're watching, you just voted a dipwad who has a $500,000 lawsuit because 45 days ago, because your butt hurt because I did the right thing with LKQ. Get over yourself. You should never be in an elected position because you are absolutely the most incorrect person to be in there because all you care about is the next person you're going to stroke. Well, get over it.
Amy.
Okay? We need good people in your position. And by the way, if you're watching, because I know all you people are, you need to go ahead and resign for planning on BCA because now you just tipped the scales because you were only assigned because you weren't a Republican member because they had too many Republicans. So go ahead and get that hot ink out and get off those boards.
Whoops.
Save the people some time. But people like her, they don't. What they do is they leave it to people like Sean and I to have to do all this homework, waste all our energy to prove to the point because the boards can't seem to do and elected officials can't seem to do the right thing. So we have to go do it. And then you know what? We're the bad guys. We're the problem. Because we spoke the truth, because we hold you accountable. No, you guys need to get some integrity. You need to get some morals. You need to be accountable and you need to do the right thing even when no one's looking.
Yeah.
So I'm putting that all out there because I've heard just about enough on social media that and the fact and I can't wait. I can't wait till Todd takes seat and how badly he screws up because I'm going to guarantee you he's going to. And then I'm going to pull your screenshot, Amy Egley, of you promoting him and how excited you were that you just voted for the first time. And mind you, Amy called me and told me that the only reason why she registered last October was because of me. So I'm just going to be very clear. Now, what's coming up for Madison County? Because I know you have other things to talk about. We'll talk about a few things here. We won a lot of great seats in Madison County. Great seats. But most importantly, we do think we've won enough of the precinct seats If you don't know who your vice PC is, you guys, quit looking so hard. Look to your right and look to your left. If you have a spouse, that's probably who you should be putting in that position,
Ding, ding, ding,
because
ding,
that
ding.
is who you are going to be able to trust.
Mm-hmm.
So if I were you, that's exactly what I would do. Larry Savage won his seat. He says, I'm putting my wife right next to me. That's what you need in order to get Russ out. That's the key right there.
Yes.
Do not trust anyone.
A spouse, a sibling, a friend. It's not that hard.
Yeah. So think about that when you do that. You know, I lost my race by 557 votes. Couple things we need to take in consideration. Did I lose it because the Herald Bulletin misprinted what I was running for and it looks like I was running for judge? I don't know.
I mean, I'll put to you that cost you some votes. That cost you a couple votes. I mean, everything costs, and it all adds up. Everything costs a little bit. It's all different checks or pluses or minuses. Some things take you up, some things take you down. And all of that stupid crap they do is one extra thing that they can do to try to put one more nail in your coffin.
Right. And, you know, the thing is that they were sweating that didn't know if that would hit soon enough. They thought it would miss the deadline and come out on Tuesday and not come out on Monday.
That would have been hilarious.
You know, but the big thing is Ethan Lawson, if he's paying attention, he won state representative District 53. Okay. You did and were a sponsor of the Lincoln Club, just so you know. So now that you've won that seat, you may want to hold your little friend, Mr. Willis, accountable for spreading lies on other Republican candidates that there were no truths on. So I just want people to understand that that's probably, and Kyle Pierce, I don't have a problem with you, but I do want to explain to you that I hope this is your last term as the state representative for District 36, because remember, I'm going to remind you the whole way, you're not a career politician and you believe in term limits. Well, you're going to be on your 8th year. So
Jesus.
I hope you're planning on something else in 4 years. Don't become stagnant and don't go back on your word.
Yeah.
That's what I think. And I'll tell you this, I'm absolutely disgusted that Kyle Pierce, being an attorney, hasn't come out and done more for the people. So if anybody's thinking about putting Chloe Aganos or Kyle Pierce in the position and they want to run to be, you know, the next Russ Willis, listen, they're just as thick and deep with Russ as anybody else.
Yeah.
You don't see any one of these elected officials stepping up.
Back up. Say her name again.
Chloe Aganos.
And that's his wife. That's his wife. They don't have the same last name. She goes by that. So keep that in mind. That's his wife, and they are connected. And you know, I gotta say, I really got no use for him. And I'm going to talk about this here in a little bit. But you know, there's nothing wrong with the people of Madison County, the state officials in Madison County coming out and doing the same thing that the people over here in Delaware County did and say, hey, we're not happy with what the chairman's doing. We're not happy with what the party's doing. Let me tell you, the only reason the people in Madison County didn't do it is because they're just a little bit not as hypocritical as JD, Scott, and Roway are, because it's hypocritical of those three to do that, really, because they have benefited from that. So they're just, what happened in Madison County is they're like, yeah, we're okay with it because we benefit from that same bullcrap too. That's the only reason that's not happening in Madison County.
Kyle Pierce, but at the end of the day, Kyle, you went to law school. You should be doing the right thing.
Yeah.
You should be speaking for the people.
As
you
an
want
officer
to be our
of the
state
court.
rep. Where are you at? And why aren't you saying, Russ, you were completely out of control and this is wrong? Oh, that's right. I think he was one of the sponsors too.
Probably.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
I mean, I'm just going to bring this on as we're looking through this, but 557 votes. Is he on there? Is Kyle on there?
I'm looking.
Yeah, he's down at the bottom.
Yeah, I see.
Kyle Pierce. So look at all these attorneys on here. Evans, an attorney, he agrees with it. Hoppy's a judge, he agrees with it. State Rep Kyle Pierce, he's an attorney, he agrees with it. Who else is an attorney on here that Judge Sims is on here. I like Judge Sims. Look, the chief deputy prosecutor's on here. I mean, all these judges and attorneys should get on here and say, stop. This is out of control. Dr. Green should be saying, wait a minute here. Why would we do such a flyer like this? And you know what really just chaps me the most is I can't wait for the general election.
Yeah.
Because on that flyer, they went off about family members and nepotisms on the north. Well, we've got Culp at city council, Jennifer. We've got Jonathan Culp, who's running for county council. And then we've got Todd Culp in auditor.
Yeah.
I hope Russ is going to put stick figures out about them.
Sure.
And let's talk about all their screw ups. So, 557, it's, my brother said to me, because, and even my girls, half of the people want your voice.
Well, yeah.
So
Look,
do you really quit?
you didn't. In Henry County, they talk all the time about a mandate. The elected officials down in Henry County, they talk about mandate all the time. And I'm like, that's such a stupid word. And people are stupid how they say it, because very, very seldomly is something like that. A mandate is when you stomp a hole in somebody's ass. A mandate is when you beat somebody with like 80% of the vote.
Right.
A mandate, I mean, I'll be honest, I wouldn't even call what Brand and King did a mandate. I wouldn't call what happened with Reagan or Ingram a mandate. It definitely wasn't a mandate when Sproles won down in Henry County. He says that all the time. A mandate is when it's just totally so lopsided that there's just absolutely no doubt that person A was who they wanted to win, and person B, they didn't care if that person's even around. I mean, there's just no confusion. You did very well to lose by the numbers that you lost by. You had almost as many votes as the winner. So it's a toss up between the people that voted. You did not do bad at all.
And that's the thing, like my mom said, for not being homegrown in Madison County, you've only been at this for 4 short years. You've really made a name for yourself. You've worked hard for the people. So, that's and that's what my brother said. Maybe you need to keep moving forward, because clearly people aren't tired of hearing your voice. They got out there and voted for you. Ken Kaczynski, he did great. He beat out a long-term shepherd. He beat out the dad's been in that seat. He beat out his son. So we're going to see some change in that seat. So great job to Ken. Ken worked his tail off. I mean, that man has worked and worked and worked from sun up to sundown, never giving up. So Ken deserved it. He earned it. He didn't just ask him to give it to him. He earned that. Rick Gardner, I want to bring up the Commissioner District 2, Rick Gardner and Devin Nork. So they decided not to run any type of bad information. Fine, whatever. Well, I haven't talked to Devin. I love you, Devin. I think the world of you, but you should have ran a more truthful campaign. I get where you were coming from, but you lost by 1,500 votes with Rick and you. When you ran,
real quick, you're not implying that he was dishonest.
No.
You're just meaning
he didn't put information out that he should have. That's all I'm saying.
He tried to stay above the fray.
He did. He didn't want to go into the way I was going at it and speaking the truth and all the shortcomings, right? Well, when he ran 2 years ago, he came within 2 votes of beating the Likens. 2. He decided to go this other route, and he came up 1,500 short. So, Devin, if you're watching, speaking the truth is always okay. And that's all Devin's ever done. And sometimes a hard truth is hard to swallow. Devin has worked so hard. He has given it his all. I don't know, when I look at all the candidates, Lisa Rinker worked hard, but I'm telling you, Devin, lock and barrel over and over. He did amazing work. He's been walking. He's pounded on more doors than you can imagine. He's been at this for probably 10 years since his dad in 2016 started. So Devin, hats off to you. I wish one day Devin would run for prosecutor. He tells me I'm crazy for saying that, but you never know where we might see Devin again.
Yeah.
Lisa, within 90 votes.
Yeah.
90 votes have taken out Rich Wine, who's been there 7
Yeah.
times. In Madison County, you just bought yourself $150 million jail.
Yeah.
Because Rich Wine is going to just be so cocky in this situation. And then he's got Gardner there to pump him up all the way. And then you got Todd Culp, who's clueless in Indiana, is going to say, yeah, take all that money. And then they're going to say, Todd, we need more money. And Todd's going to say, you spent it all, but we can file bankruptcy because I know how to do that paperwork. That's what's going to happen there. So you did get an experienced guy for that. So moving on from that, at the Madison County Council at Large, that was an interesting one. McHale lost by 41 votes. McHale, I have no idea why you didn't get to the polls on election day because you could have pulled it through. So I don't know why you just threw up your hands, but you should have never done that. You would have won it. So in the end, Kristi Grabowski took it all the way home with 17 point. Well, no, she came in second. She had 17.52, worked her tail off. Scott Green, he didn't do anything. He put up a few signs, threw in a bunch of money. He got it. 6,692 votes. He took 18% of the votes and did nothing but a name. So, and I just want everybody to know you voted in Russ's boy.
Yeah.
Just so you know. And then they voted in Jonathan Culp. Do people with the most signs just win elections? Is that how we do it? I don't know. So I think that, the big win was Kristi Grabowski there. It's a tough thing that Kristi's going to be, she's going to have Bethany with her. She's going to have Jody with her. So, hopefully Scott Green can do the right thing when nobody's looking. Hopefully Jonathan can do that too. So we'll see. I mean, Jonathan's not as tainted as everybody else because he's new, he's young. So hopefully he'll come in with the right thing. But what you have to remember is that Jennifer Culp and Todd Culp are his parents. He's going to vote however they tell him to vote. So yeah, we're in trouble. So the council's going to have some problems. Then you go on to these council seats. I will tell you, I want to shout out to Adams 4. There's a lady named Marilee Wyatt who, when I was doing a live feed, she came on at Adams Township and she was angry with me. And she couldn't understand that I said people don't understand between Democrat and Republican. Simply put up there the front of the ballot. I'm sure if they see Donald Trump, Katherine is the auditor, and the commissioners, and then they see Biden and those people on the Democrats, then they know which one they need. They don't need the whole packet. They just need that very cover page.
Yeah.
Once she talked to me a bit, she understood better. But she's one that was upset because I backed Susan Pluhar. Well, Susan's been at all the tea parties. And I told Marilee, if you want me to back you, call me. I can't. You're the candidate. If you're running for something, call people if you want their support. She was very lovely to talk to, and it would have been a very hard decision between her and Susan after I met with her. So, Marilee, I did listen to you, and I'm sorry if I'm mutilating your name. I think you're a great person. Thank you for listening to me. I think we had a great talk at the polls. As we go through all of these, I want to point out an interesting thing. Just Larry Savage won his there in his seat. There is one that I circled here because I didn't know if this would come up, but it has come. Where's this one at? Okay. Richland 3. This was interesting. It's a 50-50 draw.
Okay.
So now I think Russ gets to decide who wins that tie.
I think so.
If in Richland 3,
flip a coin or something.
You didn't come out to vote.
Yeah.
I want you to know this is why every vote matters, because that is now Russ's decision to make. And of course, he's going to go with his person. So I thought that was interesting that out of all those, that's what happened there. But again, everything else is pretty good. However, the one thing that I have to run home. Hey, Russ Willis, I know you're watching too, but you didn't win crap. So Russ had signed up for precinct committeemen, and he had people who he had like Jerry Alexander in there, and he had a couple other people to pad it. Well, he called and bullied them to death, and he wanted them to give up and relinquish their seat so that he wouldn't have anybody to, which is the dumbest thing ever, Russ. You are absolutely a moron. And let me tell you why you are a moron. You should have had somebody win another seat for you that would have given you another vote. You could have assigned yourself to another precinct that's open, and you would have had 2 people with you. Now, he can still do it vice versa, but you wouldn't look like such a moron.
You wouldn't look like an idiot.
He wouldn't. I mean, that's the whole thing. So here's the thing. When he did that, Russ couldn't even win state delegate. Russ can't even win in his own hometown that he's the GOP. That's pretty pathetic. And on top of it, your loser wife, she couldn't win it either. So here's a couple things that I want to ask. Anybody who has access to the GOP database in Madison County, I need you to look up somebody for me. I need you to look up Kelly Scott, and I believe her middle initial is an N. That is Russ Willis's daughter. My understanding is that she lives in farmland, but she's voting in Madison County and no longer lives on 10th Street. So if anybody has access to that and you can get me that information, I would love to have that information. So, and if you need like more information, I think her middle initials N. I'll have to look it up for sure. But reach out to me if you have access to that.
She lives in farmland, Indiana, like in Randolph County.
There you go. Bing, 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 bing.
Okay.
She moved, but they said she's still voting over here. Now, she's in charge of voter registration here in Madison County. And then her dad's the GOP. And Russ put something out about nepotism?
Yeah.
Oh, and if anybody else can confirm, I need some information. My understanding is that Kelly is on disability from the assessor's office in Madison County. But she is working at Madison County as the voter registration. Now, and Kelly, as you're watching, I want to give you a shout out. And I want everybody to hear this. This woman on Monday reached out to me on Facebook Messenger. And she says to me, you need to get your facts straight before you go talking about people that you don't even know. Now, I believe she came on to Madison County Government Accountability and started talking about me. I've never met this woman. I go, well, that's funny. Looks like you run your mouth pretty good. She said, excuse me? Don't know what you're talking about. I said, listen, you go run to your dad. She goes, about what exactly? I said, while you're at it, are you on disability from the county and working for the county and voter registration?
Jesus.
I said, you show me something that I've spoken about that's not the truth. She says, I don't work for the county. Okay, yeah, you're getting disability. I guess technically you don't, but you're okay. What do you think I run to my dad about? I said, are you not Russ Willis's daughter? Are you on disability? She says, I am Russ and Dina's daughter. I do not work for the county. I said, are you on disability from the assessor's office? And she won't reply to me. Maybe I was a little too strong, or maybe she didn't understand my question. So I'm just putting that all out there. Here's the deal. I've gotten so much information brought to me. I'm just going to put all the cards out for everybody to put on display.
Yeah.
So, I think it's kind of amazing that Russ couldn't even win his own state delegate. It's a pretty sad situation.
Yeah.
So I just want everybody to kind of know what's going on there. So Russ and Dina, they'll probably still get to go because he's the GOP.
Oh, sure.
But he just doesn't get a vote.
No
and
works.
anybody, just stay away from these people. But anyways, and then in District 2, we had some great winners for that to move on as state delegates. So good for you guys. I'm glad to see all of that come about. And then as far as Madison County goes, where will we go from here? Well, you took some great precinct committeeman seats. This is a great thing. I am being told that the Democrats are going to fill every seat. People say that the Democrats cannot win in Madison County. Let's look at this. 13,532 Republicans came out. Only 4,861 came out.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough, you guys. They had 42 blank ballots. I'm not sure why. Let's see. So the voter turnout was only 20.68%. So not a good turnout when we have 88,933 registered voters. I'm very confused, and this is for another day. We only have 111 precinct areas that we can run committeemen, but at the top of this voter thing, it says we have 112 precincts. I'm very confused by this. But that's for another day.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I'll have to check because it's probably the same thing. It's probably the same thing about like Delaware County, where we have all down through 198, but we only have 78 precincts. Yeah. I put in a request for all of the breakdown.
And I want everybody who's watching, I want you to flood Madison County Election Board tomorrow, because we only have 10 days to contest an election.
Should be 14.
I think it's 10. But but no matter what it is,
yeah, it's on a timeline.
There's only one weekend involved in that.
Yeah.
People work jobs. And for whatever reason, Madison County does not have our breakdown up. There's no reason for it. We're electronic. Yeah. Why isn't every one of those precincts broken down? I'll tell you why. Because Russ Willis is sitting there holding it close to his chest because he doesn't want anybody to challenge it. He doesn't want anybody to find any loopholes. And I'm going to tell you something, people. You need to just start flooding the election board. The Linda the clerk, she can't do the right thing. She can't get herself out of a wet paper bag. She was so clueless in Seattle as she was walking around at these polls trying to make sure why things weren't running right. We had people writing their names on the paper ballots. We had people writing in their precincts. I don't know that any of these numbers are actually correct because it was such a mess at these polls. Yeah. People were calling left and right. They were having problems. So for those of you in Madison County, we have a lot more to go through. I'm excited to see what July is going to come out, what the Democrats are going to put in place, how we're going to get through this. Now, Tuesday is the county council meeting, and I wasn't going to go to another one. I wasn't, but I have been flooded with people asking me to go. The election is over. Let's see how much new money requests we get from Madison County. It's going to be off the chain. Ben Gale made them throttle back. He wanted them to look good. He didn't want anybody to ask for money. Well, let's go and see exactly what we're going to get ourselves into. Let's see what has been voted in. And maybe between now and November, people might actually say, we got to rethink who we voted for these people. I don't know. So anyways, I know you got other things to talk about. This is the foundation. If you guys are free Friday or Saturday, I've got a whole lot more information to push out to you guys. Let me know. But I just thank you for allowing Madison County the opportunity to get on here, to share our knowledge, to share our information. And Sean and Laureen, if you're watching, you are winners. You have worked your tails off. And although we didn't win the big seats, we did win the biggest seat of all. And that is to say bye to Russ Willis, Kelly Hewer, Rob Steele, and Connie Gardner.
Yes.
Stay lovey. It's coming.
That is big.
the one thing I would like to have us do either Friday or Saturday is go over the vote of no confidence.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we can definitely talk about that. That's
and
very
let's help the people of Madison County start a movement to take Russ Willis out before the general election. That
yeah.
So
I know that Delaware County is looking for the same as well. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you for everything. Thanks, Kate, for keeping us on track. I'm sorry it took so long.
No problem.
But anyways, if Kelly Hewer calls you, hang up your phone immediately and block her from your phone. That's the best advice I can give you, people.
Record it if she calls you.
Oh, that's a good idea too.
Yeah, and then do all that other stuff. Yeah, we will get you back on, and we'll go through everything else, and we'll see what goes on. I appreciate it.
And thank you to the 6,147 voters who got out and voted for me. I appreciate you, and it is because of you that most likely I will do this live stream to keep you guys going.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Very
thank
good.
you to everybody.
I appreciate it, Catherine.
All right. We'll see you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Dr. Katherine Callahan with the Madison County update, telling everybody kind of what's going on over there and pushing that out there and letting everybody know what's going on. Of course, you could talk about any of this stuff for hours and hours and hours and hours. So it's kind of hard knowing like what's important to get out there and what's not important, what can wait, what can't wait, and what should be talked about. That being said, we do have a couple of things that we need to talk about before we leave here this evening. And that is a brief recap of what's going on with the Precinct 90. Last night during the live, it was kind of a live. It wasn't something I was going to do. I decided to go live at the last moment, and we came on and we're just going to kind of talk about, hey, look at what we did. Look at how the election unfolded and look at, everything that went on. And we kind of talked about some results and yada, yada, yada. And then towards the middle or in the last half of the show, Ryan Webb, counselor in Delaware County, had messaged, and he had said that there was an issue and we needed to look at what was going on, and that the election might not necessarily be over. Now, I want to say this before we get started on this. Number one, Tuesday night, the night that the results came out, the unofficial results came out, Ryan went home. Ryan made a video. We went through the video last night. If any of you are confused, go back and watch last night's video. Go and look on Ryan's social media. He put this out. Ryan didn't badmouth anybody. Okay, hate on Ryan. Don't like what he said in the past. Don't like him as a human. Think that he's a disgusting individual. But I'm just talking about the bottom line of being good winner, bad winner, good loser, bad loser, poor sportsmanship, yada, 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 good sportsmanship, whatever. At the end of the day, Ryan came on and he thanked everybody. He told everybody congratulations. He told the winners congratulations. He told the losers, sorry that this ended up this way, but it sometimes comes up short, yada, yada, yada. And he told the people that beat him, hey, you worked harder than me, and all of this different stuff. He didn't put anybody down. He didn't say, hey, there was voter fraud. Something wasn't right. He didn't do any of that. All right. And I want to be very clear, because there's a lot of people that are talking about how Ryan is and has been yelling that, he's been wronged. Something wasn't right, that, it's voter fraud, it's voter manipulation, Ryan is not saying any of that. Ryan was very clear. He's ready to move on. He's fine with that. He's going to take a look at what goes on. It is what it is. He came and he did what he wanted to do. He wanted to serve 4 years, and he did that, and he was vocal, and he did it the way he wanted to do it. It might not have been the way that you wanted to do it. It might not have been the way that I wanted to do it. It might not have been the way that anybody else would have done it. He did it his way. Okay, for good, bad, right, wrong, indifferent. That being said, in sticking with his brand, he said that he was going to ask for a recall. And he said that he was doing this not because he didn't trust Rick, not because he thought that he was being cheated, not because he thought there was some voter fraud, but he was doing it, number one, to stay true to himself. Number two, because that's what he was hearing from his people, from the citizens, from his constituents. And I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I am hearing from people, not Ryan Webb. I am hearing from citizens of Delaware County saying, I want him to do a recount. I want someone to do a recount. I want to know everything was on the up and up, because I'm going to be real honest. Okay, at the end of the day, I don't understand or know what Rick does in his day-to-day business as Rick Spangler, the Delaware County clerk, in his day-to-day business as the clerk. I don't know if people are happy with him or people are unhappy with him. I don't know if the courts are happy with him. They might think he's the best thing walking. The Delaware County clerk, as any county elected clerk, the circuit court clerk of each county, they have lots of different jobs they handle. One of those most important jobs that each county clerk handles is they are the chief election officer of that county that they're in. And I am going to tell you that there can be no way that Rick can leave his time in office and say, I am proud of what I did as the elections clerk. He can't. He simply cannot. Because he has had errors and mess ups and screw ups every single election. He has screwed it up as far as the filing period has went. He has screwed up the challenge period. He has screwed up the election board process. He has screwed up the way in which they do different actions within the election board. And he's said and done different things, and he's kept different standards for different people. I don't know that he's ever ran a county election where there's not been some kind of, the systems went down, the websites went down, the powers went out every time. So I don't know if he leaves this office and he's proud, good for him, but I don't think I could be. He's had to screw up every damn time. He comes out last Tuesday night, and first thing he says to me is, county website's down. County website's down. Don't know what to tell you. County website's down. That's insane. So when he came out to me on Tuesday, okay, it's a very strange situation. We went live at 7:20 on the dot. And 12 minutes into our live feed, which at 7:20, 12 minutes from 7:20 is 7:32, he came out and he gave us the packets of 22 of 78. And I read them off and gave them to you. And then we waited. And then at 36:50, he comes out and he gives us the final packets. And on camera, you can hear him say to us, clear as day, He says there is the totals. There's nothing wrong. We have all of our precincts in. Now, it's going to say that there's one that's out, but it's in because we have that one precinct that no one votes in. And I say, okay, like I knew what he was talking about, because I did. I did know what he was talking about. And I'm going to show you. All right. Last year, after the I'm going to pull this up here real quick. After the 2023 municipal election, there were several people that had questions about a precinct that seemed kind of odd, because that precinct was shown on the documentation, and it showed that like it had someone, but no one voted from it. It had 0 people. And it was Precinct 5 that's attached to Muncie City Council District 6. But on the ballot, it had folks there from the District 3 City Council. And a Muncie citizen posted in November 24, 2023, saying, "So can anyone make this make sense? I was asking about Precinct 5 before. It makes no sense that Precinct 5 even exists. But hang on, there's more. Precinct 5 voted for the District 3 candidate in the Muncie City Council." Okay? And that's up there. All right? I then took a picture and showed like what precinct this was. It's Precinct 5. There's no humans that live there. All right? So that is a precinct. So out of Muncie's, Delaware County's precincts, we do have one precinct where no one votes. So when Rick came out and said that yesterday, I thought, yeah, that's what he's talking about. He's talking about that Precinct 5. Look right here, you can see on the screen. Registered voters, 0. 0. But it shows that they had one walk-in absentee ballot. This was last year.
That one's where the multiplex is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yep.
that's a multiplex.
It's right here.
It's going
Yep.
to be building houses, apparently. But
yeah, but the precinct wasn't there. But the precinct wasn't there because of the multiplex. The multiplex deal just went into effect at the end of last year, beginning of this year.
Right.
This Precinct 5 has been there for a long time. And so I don't know what the deal was. I don't know if they thought something was, because that's where the sports there's a sportsplex out there now, and that's where people thought that was going to take off, and it never did. So people were never like going to live there. I don't know why that was. It's just a really funky thing. Okay. So then I talked, this is all last year stuff. I'm just letting you guys know that we knew that there was this precinct. Okay. And all of this went on. Okay. No, that's not what I want. So then we had everything that happened last night, where we looked at the ballot information, where okay, this is Precinct 90. This was at the Eden Church. They've got 873 registered voters. It says precinct status not reported. Election day voters 0, but they showed that there were 14 absent and 19 walk-in absentee, which means 33 public count. That's 33 votes. All right. And we called this into question. Yesterday morning, before any of this happened, Ryan goes to the clerk's office, and the clerk gets in a massive yelling, screaming match with him, cussing him up and down, throws him out of the office, slams the door. All right. I don't care what else happens. Because of that behavior right there, Ryan now has to have a recount. And there are politicians that have given him money. People are giving Ryan money. Ryan's not asking for money. People are handing him money because it's going to cost about $1,100, somewhere around there, $1,100 or under dollar, somewhere around there, 900,000, somewhere around there. It's going to cost that much. So if you're interested in donating to Ryan's cause, let me know. If you think that you want to help out, I can help you with that. And look, I'm not saying that this should happen to move the needle. I'm not trying to get him to win or get him to overcome. I'm trying to say everybody's votes should count that voted. No one should be disenfranchised if we can at all help it. And if something funky's going on, and it certainly is, we need to get to the bottom of it. So we did that show last night. All right. We showed that there were 143 voters there in 2020. That was the last 4-year election. Ryan received 65 votes there in 2020. 65. He only lost by 68. Showed that in 2016, there were 401 votes. 401 votes that walked in the day of. All right, this is the Precinct 90, Eden Church, 11205 North State Road 3 in Muncie. I am showing you this is the 90th precinct. It's a pretty big precinct area there. All right, so there's all that information. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I woke up this morning to find a text message from my cousin, Jamie Smith. And Jamie says to me in my text message, let me see. Jamie texts to me the following. Yeah. Why does it show up that not one person showed up and in person for my precinct 90 to vote? And who do we contact for answers? Oh, shit. Somebody did show up there and vote on Tuesday, and it happens to be Kristopher Bilbrey's cousin. That's a horrible situation. I mean, like, if we're going to, do something funky, let's do it where, the largest asshole in the county isn't involved. So I immediately get on the phone and I call Jamie, and Jamie's pissed. Jamie is, she's like my brother's age, the brother that's closest to me in age. So she's like 3.5 years younger than me. Very close to her growing up. We've not been super close over the last several years, but I would do anything for her if she called me in a second. We talk periodically, and every time we talk, it's like we just talked. The last time we talked was 5 seconds ago. I mean, we could just start talking like that. Love her to death. She's probably one of my favorite cousins. And she calls me and she's fired up, and it's awesome. I love it. She's saying stuff like, not sure how to take care of this, but let me know what I need to do. Before I can get a message to her, because I went to a meeting, she said, not sure if Rick Spangler's the one I need to contact, but I did already. And I'm like, all right. Yeah, love it. I said, what'd he say? She said, nothing yet. Didn't speak to him. I emailed him. I said, okay, cool. I said, well, I'm waiting for some information. I'll let you know. She said, good. I'm telling you what. I'm not playing with this election this season. At all. I want to get more involved. I'm not sure how, but I'm angry and I want to expose it all. And I'm like, yeah, sister, let's do it. I said, I really love to hear that, Jamie. And there are several good ways that you can get involved. And there's a lot of different things. I want to talk to you about this. And we talked this evening, and I love this. I hope she's watching. She said she was going to start watching and listening. She watches from periodically or seen here or there over the years, but she's not been like a, major viewer. I hope she turns into a viewer and she's on here. She'd put up a lot of commentary. I'd like to have her on sometime. Might have to have her come on as a guest, as someone who's just getting involved. It'd be awesome. She kind of reminds me of Bree. Bree's involved. I hope Bree stays involved and stuff like that. So that's awesome. Very cool. All right. So at 11:05, she says to me, he responded. He sent me an email. Now I'm going to tell you what Rick's email said. Damn it. Hold on. I don't want to put her email up. Kate, I'm going to send you another picture. Can you put this up in the thing when you get a second? I don't want to put her actual email up. All right, so it's the second picture I sent to you in the group. If you can put that up when you get it. No, it didn't start with dear. It started with good. Good morning. Good morning. So she gets this email, and I look at this, and I'm almost instantly like, you got to be kidding me. Like, this doesn't even make any sense. So I'm like on the phone all day long. I'm dealing with this. I'm in the redevelopment commission meeting while a lot of this is going on. And I'm talking to different people, yada, 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 doing that thing. And I finally get a chance to then go in and look at her email. And okay, there it is. Good morning, Jamie. There was an error in the zip drive we used to report our results to the website. The totals on the summary page were correct, but for some reason, Precinct 90 did not reflect the in-person votes. I was not aware of this until this morning. I contacted Microvote immediately, and they came in and resolved the issue. The online reports are now corrected. Okay? Now, think about think about that. Okay? Because I'm going to show you something that really kind of calls into question what he's saying there. Okay? And this is why. This is how I'm going to call. This is how that calls that into question. Because when I was sitting in the county building waiting the night of, okay, I'm going to play this for you so you guys can hear this. So there's no confusion. Okay. So, listen here.
Delaware County building. It shows 77 of 78, but we have one precinct that has no voter.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we are 100% in.
Okay.
We are 100% in. It shows 78 of 77 of 78 voters because we have one precinct that has no voters. And listen, I'm not saying, what? Huh? I know exactly what he's talking about because I'm assuming that he's talking about Precinct 5. Listen again.
Whatever. Delaware County, like,
It shows 77 of 78, but we have one precinct that has no voter.
okay.
So
Yeah.
we are 100% in.
Okay.
Now, listen, I don't know if he knew I was recording then or not. Okay. Maybe he didn't know that I was recording then. Let me show you why what he said right there doesn't jive with the email that he sent to Jamie this morning, or something doesn't jive. Because when you blow this up and you look right here, you can see it says Precinct 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It then skips 16. So 16, skips 17, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77. All right. So there's 77 here. 77 are right here. 77 are right here. There's more than that fifth precinct that's been left out of here. But they're saying there's 78. And 77 are in. We counted 77. There's more than just the precinct 5 that's gone from that list. So they have accounted for that with 90 being on here. And when you clicked on 90 last night, and you can see this because we went through every one on screen, 90 was here. 90, I've got pictures of it, and it's on camera. We went through every one. There was 0 right here. Now there's 162. For what Rick said, this should have been 0, this should have been 0, this should have been 0, and the public count should have been 0. And this would have said not reported. But it didn't. This said not reported. This said 33. This said 19. This said 14. And the 0 was here. So they're saying the numbers are okay. There was no problem with the numbers. We just didn't have that 162. Well, listen, folks, I know that this is the new math era. All right. But 2 plus 2 is still 4 here. And when you have votes that total $23,746, and you add 162 to it, you cannot tell me that that number is not going to go up. If there was a 0 added in there, let me look here. It just doesn't make any sense what they've done. What they've done here does not make any sense. I mean, does this make sense to you guys? Is this making sense to you?
So on election night, supposedly the machine farted out a paper that said there were 0 votes, but that same machine counted 162 votes.
That's what they're saying.
See, that doesn't make sense to me. It's the same system. How does
right? There's one
count the
system.
votes, but doesn't print the votes?
Right.
It just it doesn't make sense that the numbers wouldn't change. How do they get counted if they're not included?
Does it make sense to any of you, Jackie, or anyone over here watching? So let me tell you the other thing that's going around. The other thing that's going around is there was someone standing in line turning in a machine, and there were 2 people from a precinct, and they don't know where. They were trying to get to the bottom of this. And when they turned in their stuff, they didn't turn in a poll book. They left the poll book at the polling center. And the envelope that should have had the receipt in it printed off and sealed, it was not sealed. It was open and it was flat. Like nothing was in it. And they had to go get Rick. Rick had to go get the microvert people. He had to come back, and he's like, no, you guys got to go back out and get that stuff and bring it here. So they had to do something, and the word is that those people were very cavalier about it. Oh, well, you know, this I don't understand why you're making such a big deal about this. So when he comes to me and he says, that night, everything's in, but we have one where there's no one voting. In my mind, he was talking about Precinct 5. But so if he did this right, he's talking about Precinct 90. Well, if he thought if it was no votes there, see how it doesn't make any sense? So, I'm pretty sure that Ryan is going to do a recall. Rick cannot like it all he wants. Rick cannot like it all he wants. He can slam the door. He can do what he wants. He can cuss at Ryan. He can throw a fit. I want Rick to go get checked out. I think because when Rick first started, Rick was very nice. He was very calm. He understood that he was a public servant and he was very friendly. Now, I don't know if it's a problem at home, if it's a medical condition, but I'm worried about Rick. And I'm telling you, had I been there and had he been treated, because he's talked sideways and out of pocket to me. I'm glad it was Ryan, because Ryan's an elected official and man, whatever. But had he talked to me that way, we would have had a problem. You're right, David. You're right, David. And it's the citizens that deserve supposed to get a solid number above whatever Webb got. Example, Webb got 392. White, yeah. Well, yeah. Hey, I don't know. Ejac. So that's what's going on there. I'm happy that Jamie's going to get involved. I hope maybe we can bring Jamie on and talk to her. I'm hearing rumors. People are saying that Bobby Plummer down in Henry County might have a recall, have a recount. Look, I'd say if somebody got within 100, 150 votes, it's worth it. Just that's my thought. All right, moving on from there. Briefly, Kate, can you pop up here for a second?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I need to get one thing. Stay. Can you stay here and entertain the troops for a second? I need to get one thing. I think it's downstairs. I'll be right back.
Apparently, I am the USO, and I get to entertain the troops. That's fantastic. We can have Catherine come up, and she's been chatting with me in the private chat. So,
Hey.
So how do you request a recount? Do you know how much it costs or anything?
Oh yeah, because we did it with Devin. I mean, it cost. It was salty. It was almost $6,000. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, when Chris said only $1,000, I'm thinking, where are you guys going? Because if Ryan gets a recount, he's going to have to do a challenge.
Okay,
So
that's a in court legal.
Like
process,
he's going to have an election challenge. So he better look and see. I think he's going to have to, and not just a recount. He had to do an election challenge. You're going to have an attorney. It's going to, this gets salty. This is why people don't do it. But I'll have to go back and check with Devin, but I think it was close to $6,000 to do that. But that was Rebecca Crooms might be watching. I think
how much
Chamberlain did it, and it was around $3,000 to do.
What was the difference between Devin and the person that beat him?
2 votes.
It was 2 votes because the rule is if you're within a certain percentage, it costs a certain amount of money. And then if you do, like they'll do 10 precincts for you, and it might matter on what system you guys are on too. I don't know.
Well, and that was a district. They were in District 3 is when he did that challenge with the Lycans 2 years ago.
And see, so who did he challenge?
He challenged Darlene Likens.
Because here's
Diana Likens. He challenged Diana Likens.
He's not challenging anyone. He's just what Ryan is doing is Ryan is demanding a recount.
But with that recount,
from the clerk,
then he's going to have to challenge the candidate.
Well, that is not what the Secretary of State's office told us today. What I was told by the Indian State
It is Diego that's running this show.
Oh, that is true too. When my grandmother did recount back in the early 2000s, I want to say that they applied to the election board. I mean, they didn't go to a court. Number one, there are certain things that trigger a recount. Then there's certain things that any candidate can call for a recount, if anything, if you're willing to pay for it. And certain things have to happen. But I will find out exactly tomorrow what the deal is there. But I know that they told Ryan that he needed, I think it was like $1,100 or less. And so that's what
Ryan Webb, if you're watching,
I don't
I'm
think
in
he
for
is.
100.
Okay.
I might be in Madison County, but I'm all about it. You know, we're helping one another. So I'm in for 100 there, Ryan.
All right.
Even though you don't respond to my texts.
I will let him know, and I will tell him to text you tomorrow.
All right.
All right. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. All right. So we got this. Sorry about that, folks. So, we'll see what goes on there, and maybe we'll be able to have Ryan come on whenever we're on again. We'll have Ryan come on. So that's that. All right, now we're shifting gears, and I know we've been on here for a while. Stay with me. We will get through this quickly. Delaware County Redevelopment Commission. Today was the Delaware County Redevelopment Commission meeting. Remember, this is the Redevelopment Commission meeting where they should have had this meeting back last month before the election Tuesday, but they pushed this off because they didn't want to have this before the election because James King was part of it. And it was about the mailer, and people were mad, and yada, yada, yada. Remember all of that? Okay. Well, I will tell you, number one, this meeting was live streamed, but it is not up, and they generally will only post these like 2 weeks after the fact. So, for example, let me tell you when. The last redevelopment commission meeting that they had, since they didn't have one in April, they had it on March 14th, and they uploaded it. It actually happened pretty quickly. They uploaded it on March 20th. I will message the people that put this up, Mark Slusher, and I will try to see how long it will be until he can get this going, because people need to see this. So number one, I'll show you. Here's the meeting area where we were, okay? And you see how empty this is? How empty this room was? All right, I want to show you this. All right, let me see here as it spins around. See back in here behind King and everybody how empty this room is? All right, they had all these tables all the way back there. This room was standing room only. Janet Garand was there, and it was standing room only. Now, here's the ridiculous thing. All right. The director of that committee is none other than Mr. Bradley Bookout. Mr. Bradley Bookout is the director of the Redevelopment Commission. He gets paid handsomely from the county for that position. He sent out a 117-page document to the 5 board members. They got this at like 9:30 p.m. on election night. And they were supposed to be able to look through all of this by 9 o'clock Thursday morning. And there's just no way. And it's just all this crap. They're looking to, do all these things. give money to Yorktown, give money to Coops Lawn Care, give money to Gaston Community Schools, Cowan Community Schools, Muncie Downtown Partnership, Second Harvest Food Bank, State Road 32 McGalliard Bridge deck replacement request, Nixon Industrial Park RFP request, Park 1 entrance property acquisition offer, annual TIF notice determination, and overlapping tax units. And then here was their April invoices that didn't get paid. $112,932 to DCRWD, J. Crew Landscaping, $476. Brooke and the attorney Brooke, $3,107. The Elam Group, $4,991. United Consulting, Magna, that's $10,720. American Structure Point, $70,435. Delaware County Treasurer, $365. Mundell and Associates, it's Magna, $2,657. Endpoint Creative, $200. Red Elephant Digital. Now let's talk about Red Elephant Digital. Here's the invoice, ladies and gentlemen. This was supposed to be $12,000. For some reason, it's $18,700. Now, when they put these invoices together, they wanted to put all of these invoices together, and they wanted to approve them to pay April's invoices and pay May's invoices. Boom, bang, pow, just like that. And I will tell you that was none other than Mrs. Amber Green, who said, hey, I have a question. Can we please pull this invoice out and discuss it one on its own? And you could tell they did not like it, but they did it. So they paid all the other invoices, and then they talked about this. And now the first thing that can happen, I'll tell you, Rob Kiesling, the vice president, said, I want to put a pause on anything else from Red Elephant. I think that, maybe it was meant in the right tone. Maybe it wasn't. Who knows what the deal was, but I think it missed the mark. And I think we need to pause any further work. So for one thing I can tell you, they did pause everything else. So Red Elephant will not be putting out any more mailers on James King's behalf that the taxpayers have to foot the bill for. Thank God. That being said, Amber said, we did not approve this. And as soon as she said this, Angie Moyer said, the work is already done. The work's already been done. Someone's going to have to get paid for it. Somebody's going to have to pay it. And Amber stuck to her guns and she said, no, we did not approve this. I went back and I've watched all of this, and this was not, we gave King the go ahead to find information to bring back to us, not to tell him to pull the trigger. And I don't think that we should pay this. And at that time, Angie made a motion. The other girl, the other lady, made the... hold on. Michelle Batters seconded it, and they voted. They voted to pay, and the vote fell 4-1. All four of them voted to pay, and Amber voted not to pay. So John Adams voted to pay. Michelle Batters voted to pay. Bryce Conyers voted to pay. Rob Kiesling voted to pay. Angie Moyer voted to pay. Amber did not. Yeah. Yeah. So it was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So I just want people to understand that when this comes out, we're going to watch this here, and I want you guys to watch it. Because the other thing that's very disappointing is I wanted to congratulate Amber on what she was doing for the people, and I wanted to kind of speak against everyone else's actions. We got to a point in the meeting where they literally said this. Janet was there. They said, all right, is anyone here for public comments? Okay, seeing none, we're adjourned. It was literally that fast. Is anybody here for public comments? Okay, seeing none, we're adjourned. I was sitting next to Janet, and I was like, wait a minute. I wanted to talk. I'm telling you, it was nuts. It was absolutely nuts what they did. So, just FYI, Amber lost the election, and nothing going on with any recount is going to put her in a place to win, but she's still there battling and doing the right thing. Keep that in mind. Amber's the real deal, folks. One of these days, someone's going to have to vote to put her in office because she will do the right thing. Or we can continue putting Brad Bookout in. Brad Bookout. Jessica Piper. Okay. Let me tell you how absolutely how gross it is that Bookout is in second place on the council. He's going to run an election claiming that he wants to be on the council when he makes money from his position as a contract employee with the county up to $450,000 a year. And they're saying that's not a problem. Look at what's going on with the city of Muncie right now. Look at what's going on with Dustin. They're saying that's okay. They're saying that is okay. There's no way. Bookout's going to more than likely resign his seat, let King slide in. I can see that happening. I can see all kinds of nonsensical things happening. And let me tell you, it's disgusting to me that Elizabeth Roway, J.D. Prescott, Scott Alexander meets and has lunch with Ed and Jessica yesterday to get a talking to about their letter. And they still don't have the balls to come out and say what happened. They still won't come out and tell us what's going on. What was the point of their letter? Was it all bullshit? Are they hypocrites? If it's not, come out and tell us. What was the point of that lunch? Were they spanked for that? Or were they like, no, you know what? We're grown people. If we disagree with what you're doing, Ed and Jessica, we'll tell you. You know, Jessica was all scared because she thought she was going to lose. But then she gets in first place and she's like, all right, now I can be badass bitch again. No. That doesn't work like that. That doesn't work like that. You know, one of these days, people are going to have to wake up from that nightmare that they continue to play over and over and over. So we're going to be talking about this more. We need to talk. There's a lot to deal with this. We'll be talking about this more coming up. Red Elephant has been pushed off, so at least they can't punish us anymore and have the citizens and the taxpayers pay for James King's nonsense. So at least they were able to cut the head off that snake. Thank God. Okay. Moving on, City of Muncie. We'll deal with the Board of Works and Dan's update another time. I do want to give the last thing that we're going to give. I want to give the update on Greenlight, the Greenlight deal. All right. The Greenlight resources update. Okay. It's important that you guys know that basically after the Star Press put out, not the Star Press, after the City of Muncie put out their presser the other day, which was basically nonsensical. Okay. It didn't tell anything. It told far less than we've told here. They put this out. The Star Press ran a story. I think it's cute that the Indiana Public Radio put out a story, you know, and they've all done this weeks after we've done it here. Welcome to the party. Okay. The other thing that happened here, and this is important for people to have a clear understanding of, is the Indiana Public Radio, along with their article on this, they published a report from the Indiana State Board of Accounts that we published last year. We went through this with everybody last year when the Muncie City municipal election was ongoing and when the big fight was on between Dan and Jeff Robinson. We put this forward so everyone would know, because if everyone remembers, does everybody remember when Dustin and the City of Muncie was slapped on the hand for putting in the invoices for work that he was doing while he was also on the clock? It was very, very big. Okay. Well, here's what happened. The State Board of Accounts released this document, and when they did their exit interview with the City of Muncie, by law, the president of the council has to be in the exit interview, and Dan did not notify Jeff Robinson because he did not want him to be there, because they knew that Dustin Clark was going to get in trouble. They knew that they were going to get their hands slapped. So he did not want Jeff there. So here is this document. Indiana Public Radio put this out today. We published this last year. All right. When they put this forward. Supplemental compliance report. filed September 21st, 2023. Okay. And it basically says what it is: schedule of officials, transmittal letter, city controller, audit results, financial transactions reporting, appropriations, monthly, annual engagement uploads, annual finance reports, community crossings grant, motor vehicle exit conference 2013. Keep that in mind, all right? Record of hours worked. Remember this, okay? Exit conference, all right? Keep 13 and 17. All right, let's go down to this. All right, so you see this right here? Schedule of officials. City Controller Craig Wright. Mayor. President of the Board of Works Linda Gregory. President of the Common Council Jeff Robinson. President of the Sanitary District Board. But guess what? Jeff Robinson was not invited to the exit conference. That's how petty Dan Ridenour is. Okay? That's how petty all of that was. Let's get down in here to this. Let me get to the part that matters here. Stand by 1 second. City did not upload monthly information timely as follows. Bank statements were uploaded late for the following months, January through July, September through November. Bank reconciliations were uploaded late for the following months, January through March, June, September through November. Common Council minutes were uploaded late for the following months, January through November. Funds ledgers were uploaded late for the following months, February, March, June, September through November. Okay, that's important to know. That's things that they were doing wrong. This is things they were doing wrong on, all right? Let's see here. Okay, we see there's some issues here. All right. Cooperative forestry assistance, this was grants, was omitted. Understated expenditures by $22,000. Let's see here. Let's see what it is specifically that we're looking to see here. We're on page 12. We're getting close. All right. There's all sorts of things wrong in this. If you want to see this, I will upload this entire thing to my social media page as soon as we're off here. Let me get down to where they talk about Dustin. Contents of this report were discussed on August 30th with Craig Wright, City Controller, the Honorable Dan Ridenour, Aaron Clark, Common Council member. All right. Why did they not have Jeff Clark there, or Jeff Robinson there? They had Aaron Clark, the mayor's bitch boy, but they didn't have the council president. Interesting. Okay. Mayor of Muncie. Look here. In 2021, the mayor contracted with a full-time city employee to provide general administration management of Prairie Creek Reservoir, grant writing, aid in park development, oversee the mayor's initiatives, and other consulting services to the city and all departments of the city as needed and directed by the mayor of Muncie. The contract specified the city will provide office space, internet, and telephone access as needed Monday through Friday from 8 until 4, plus an email account and access to a computer and copy machine. The contract specified the individual as a contract consultant of the city who is not entitled to any city employee benefits, specified in monthly payment of $2,000 per month and specified for the period of July 2021 through December 31st, 2023, with any modifications to be made in writing and signed by all parties. The contract included language regarding duties already being performed as a city employee, did not include a provision for a record of hours to be provided, and did not specify the work to be performed outside of the employee's normal work hours, which are also 8 to 4, Monday through Friday. The employee's time cards show 8 hours per day worked for the city, but not the actual hours, and no record of hours worked was provided for the consulting work. As a result, there were insufficient documentation to determine when the initial individual worked for the city as a consultant. This individual was paid $49,355 as a full-time city employee, plus $24,000 as a consultant. So, look in 2021, he was paid $49,355 as a full-time city employee, and he was paid another $24,000 as a consultant. What a ripoff Dustin Clark and Dan Ridenour engaged here. Don't tell me Dan didn't know about this. Dan signed off on all of these invoices. Dan stood before the council or before the Board of Works or somebody. I've heard Dan read this exact quote right here. I've heard that come out of Dan's mouth. So Dan knew every bit of this, folks. And of course, we went over this last year. In 2022, the consultant payment increased to $2,500 a month, because I guess $24,000 wasn't enough, with no written amendment provided. Amazing. This individual has been paid a minimum of $1,850 per pay plus overtime as a full-time city employee. Criteria: Indiana Code 51194B states in part, the State Board of Accounts shall require that records be maintained showing which hours were worked each day by officers and employees employed by more than one public agency or in more than one position by the same public agency. The Federal Fair Labor Standards Act requires that records of wages paid daily and weekly, hours of work, and the time of day and day of the week in which the employee's work week begins and kept for employees. The requirements can be met by use of the following prescribed general forms. All right, and they lay it all out right here. They laid it all out right there. The contents of this report were discussed on August 30th, 2023 with Craig Wright, City Controller, Dan Ridenour, Aaron Clark, not Jeff Robinson, Stephen Brand. And I'm going to tell you right there, Stephen Brand heard this. So, hey, yo, Brand, were you okay with this? Hey, yo, Brand, did you know about Dustin Clark? I'm telling you, we just gave you the keys to the kingdom. Is this how you're going to run the commissioner's office? I'm telling you, I want to hear Stephen Brand come out pretty quick like against this bullshit. Because if that's how he's going to run the commissioner's office, if he thinks that's okay, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. He was definitely running for mayor, Jackie, in August 30th of 2023. So this would have been bad information for Jeff Robinson to have had on August 30th, 2023. Where Aaron Clark is just going to sweep it under the rug for the mayor. This would have been bad for Jeff to have on August 30th, 2023. This report was discussed and should have been discussed with Jeff on August 30th, 2023, but yet it was not. So I'm just going to tell you, like, I like Stephen, and I'm supporting Stephen. I'm going to continue supporting Stephen, but I just don't know. You know what I mean? So I don't know, folks. I don't know. So that's what's going on there, and I'm going to keep following this. We will keep following this. I want to show you one last thing before we go. And it connects really well with what we just read. Connects really well. I just want to, it gives you a great example. When I say, ooh, Dustin Clark was doing X, Y, and Z. Ooh, did Dan know about this? Ooh, did Mr. Clean Craig Wright know about this? Oh man, that don't look good. That don't look good at all. Okay, and I just want to show you because I don't want anyone to be like, well, surely they wouldn't do anything wrong.
There was some information that came out that 10% raises were provided.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain that? Can you expound on that?
Well, that was a direction to go ahead and implement that. We will be doing a salary ordinance.
When?
As far as me answering that, I would rather legal answer it.
Okay,
But we did implement it.
When will that take effect? That salary increase?
The ordinance.
No, when will the salary?
It came in the last rate pay, which was Friday. For the civil.
You're outside of city ordinance right now?
Well, the ordinance, as long as you get the ordinance in.
No.
So.
Ordinance 24-23 talks about the hourly maximum for each hourly employee, and it sets a maximum amount for each hourly employee. If you're paying above that, then you are outside of city ordinance.
Well,
You have spent money without authorization from council.
Well, we will take that up with legal. So.
Yes, we will.
Mr. Gibson, could you please look at ordinance 24-23 and compare it to what is being paid now and report back to council and see if they're out? Thank you.
Okay.
So, anytime anybody at the city, Michelle Owen, or anybody over there tries to gaslight you into believing that what we know is not true and they're doing well, just let them know we know they're full of shit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this 200th episode. This is the 200th episode of the Political Spotlight. We have a whole lot of stuff to still talk about. We didn't get through even half of what I had planned, but we've got, God willing, other time to do that. We will be bringing it all to you, ladies and gentlemen. The plan is currently, as we sit here right now at 11:46 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, May 9th, 2024, that we will not be live Friday and we will not be live Saturday. And we will be back on air for episode 201 at 9 p.m. Eastern on Sunday the 12th. That's our 2 regular days off, and we'll be back on the 12th, and we will have a lot of extra great, wonderful content for you. Now, if something big pops off, we will then pop on and let you know what's going on. So you just got to be on the lookout. And if something big pops off, we will more than likely be on tomorrow night, if that's going to happen, just because it would be if like something crazy happens and Dustin is arrested or Dustin is charged or I get records from the city. If nothing happens tomorrow, then we will not be on Saturday, but just look. And
that's
the best
why it's
way
important
to
to subscribe so you get notifications of us going live at weird times.
Do the subscription. So no Friday show, no Saturday show, unless something insane pops off. And if you follow me on social media, you might want to be looking because that will help you know. And I'll tell you, if something pops off, it will happen prior to 5 p.m. So if that happens, I will put a show up around 5 so you'll know. It's not something that's like we're going to go live last minute at 8:30. So you'll know earlier in the day if we're going to be live. Check on YouTube. Check on there. If we're live, the show will be up like it is. But more than likely, hopefully, if nothing doesn't pop off, we will be back here Sunday night. So you guys, thank you all very, very, very much for everything that you guys do. Please, please continue to spread the word. And I've heard that at least 1 or 2 people have contacted Wolf Boom Radio and said that they think they need to reach out to us to have our program on WMUN. I think that is hilarious. And, I don't want to ask you to be doing it, but if you're so inclined, I think that's hilarious. So we'll let you know what we hear. You guys are fantastic. Thank you guys. As always, we will see you back here Sunday night. Thank you all, each and every one of you. And that's going to do it. Okay. All right. Good night. Goodbye.
Okay.